all. This is Dr. Mobeen Sayed from Drbeen.com. This is our second discussion for today. Welcome to one more show. And Jana Taylor is first today. Jim, second. Odrasi, third. Jana, you are the first this time. Michelle is here. Jana gets first, correct. Kamran is here as well. GMT Hero is here. Nancy Camp is here. So guys, what did you think about the discussion about love hormones? I get a little disappointed when I see the hormone discussion and it only is confined to oxytocin. Just like the motivational speakers, they have caught on the limbic system and they just keep bringing up limbic system there. And they do not talk about a lot of other connections. Same thing, I think that whenever somebody wants to talk about love hormone, they just talk about oxytocin. But there is much more. There are love hormone cocktails for initial stage, second stage, third stage, and then there are hate hormone cocktails as well. Thank you very much, Kamran. Interesting discussion. Thank you. Diversity Love says it totally explains me. Which part? The first part or the second part? The whole of it? I skipped it. I'm alone now. Sorry, Doug. Adorable, great examples to help remember. Yes. I had more stories prepared as well, but the video became long. Jana says, I'm sad because COVID zapped my hormones and also I have CFS now, so just not wanting it. We'll work on it, Jana. Don't give up hope. Jerry, pregnenolone or progesterone and estrogen are very important as well for the female functioning. So they definitely create the bond and the closeness, but they're not in both of the people. They're in women, but they are important, yes. Diversity is all of it. Now I have new strategy for love. Yes. Jana, feel better. Yes. Serotonin is an amazing neurotransmitter. Absolutely. And what is interesting is that serotonin less is bad. Serotonin too much is bad as well. So we have to figure out where is the right balance for serotonin for us. That is the thing. Trevor says love is hard during COVID. So I was going to ask you guys a question. So again, whoever is shy, I am not, because I teach medicine, so I talk about everything. So whoever is shy, close your eyes and close your ears. I was going to post a community post to ask you how many times you're going to have sex tomorrow or on Valentine's. And the thing is, this channel is my official channel. I didn't want to do it. So I might ask that question from my personal YouTube channel, which has a couple of subscribers, not a big deal. But maybe I can then share that here and you can respond to that. I was thinking we should have what is that? We should have an award for whoever and their partner send in a message that we had it more than 4 times. Then we should do a, what is that? Draw for all of such couples. And then the winners of the draw should get some award. Anthony says wrong chat. Diversity Love says, can you rephrase the question in terms of decades? Jody has an interesting question. I do not have the answer to that question. Why do some animals like penguins mate for life? I did not know this. So tell me more. Jim, is that a question for me? What vitamins are you taking? I am taking those initial cocktails, vitamin D, K2, calcium, magnesium, copper, selenium, melatonin, curcumin, glutathione, NSE, and CoQ10. Jamie says, oh my God, Dr. Bean, what happened? Isn't this a nice change from COVID after a year? I thought I'll surprise you today and hopefully in this process make you a little bit happy so that you can have some good time with your partners. Doug says you're funny. Gold Country Russ says back, but dinner is close. We'll just chat for some more time. What does too much testosterone do to couples? The too much testosterone generally depends who it is in. If it is in females, then we have a problem. In male, because that would create masculine characteristics and suppress their libido. In the man, it would actually increase the libido and create sexual aggression as well. But again, most of the men in the social structures have learned to control those. But too much testosterone has its own. One, it causes secondary sex characteristics to become too prominent, for example, baldness. But that's not too much. That is still sufficient. And then it can cause more activity as well. Nancy says, very interesting. Thank you. You're welcome. Rubinia says, I won't close my eyes. Sex is about love and feelings, etc. Yes. So it is a part of life. Wow, penguins. Better than some people. Jody says, but Jody, I have no idea about penguins. And don't make me jealous of penguins. Barbara says, Lotus and I are back. She says, Mew to Luffy. I'm sure that Luffy is hanging somewhere here as well. Michelle says, yes, doctor, best teacher, top 5. Thank you. Nihyo says too much estrogen is horrible. Too much of any hormone is bad, or any supplement, any drug, anything is bad. Eric the dog says, does Dr. Bean own a nice shop? Nice shop? I have to understand these things. Kissing is pleasurable because we used to chew the food and give it mouth to babies. Plus, in terms of medicine, so again, I can talk more from medical point of view. In our brain, the homunculus means the representation of our body in the brain tissue. The homunculus, the sensory homunculus, the largest representation. So, for example, this is our body. Our trunk area is very large. But in the brain, the area that handles the sensory feelings from trunk is very tiny, and the area that handles the sensory feelings on lips and nose and genitalia and hand or fingertips is very large. So wherever we have very large representation, we used to use those areas very much, and we still use them very much as well. And thank you very much for the super chat. So the other cat, Zigzag, her name is Kairi. I had brought her in a few discussions as well. Kairi is very, very shy. She does not come near anyone. She just has her own pet spots where she goes and sleeps or hides or just hangs out. I will bring her on as well. She is actually more pretty than Luffy is, but she's very shy. Didia says, how long have you been married? I am married for, I believe now, 27 years. B12 says, Dr. Bean, what did you do when you were madly in love? Oh man, I used to buy gifts and make calls and write poems and lots of things. Kairi, yes. So, Kairi, yes. AP, look at this. In this all romantic chat, AP comes in and says, excuse me, Dr. Bean, may I ask a question about vaccines and ivermectin? Sure. Let's do it. Rahul says, doctor, considering the data available so far, which COVID-19 vaccine would you consider taking? So we do not have data for Novavax yet. I like Novavax the most, but if it is not efficacious, then all bets are out. Then the second best I like is Moderna. Nancy says, Dr. Bean, you always make us happy, and Luffy too. Absolutely. That is my job. Especially today, I wanted us. This is, for many people, the oxytocin is breaking down. Those who are in remote relationships and have not met, touched, hugged, kissed each other for a year or more because they've been away and they cannot travel, and they are in trouble. Their relationships are in trouble. Similarly, those who were dating online during this pandemic, who started dating online and have never gotten a chance to come close to each other, their relationship is going to be in trouble as well. So there are lots of stressful times, especially the youngsters who are college going and who are school goings. So I thought it was important, number one, for us to take a break from COVID. And number two, I think the time was right to talk about love as well. Barbara says Novavax and Moderna. Good to know. I like Novavax too. Crossing my fingers. Yes, me too. Zigzag says the Romans made kissing popular. I think the humans made kissing popular. Yes. Makai says, Sandy, no vaccine talks tonight. It's Valentine talk. Yes. Thank you very much. Jana says, oh, well, metals questions next time. Yes, Jana, please. Thanks to Roman. AP says, during vaccination period, do we still consume ivermectin? Will ivermectin interact with the vaccine? Thank you, Dr. Bean. So number one, yes, if you are taking ivermectin, then continue to take it. Number one. Number two, ivermectin does not affect the vaccine's behavior. Michelle says, directions, erections. Life Come says, I'm 43 years old and a Western painter. It's been 15 years and 5 years ago we had testicles taken out. Since then, the basal metabolism has dropped. So I stopped taking medicine and it has been. Are you getting supplemental testosterone? Sandy says, can you still spread the virus if you've been vaccinated? Ideally, if a vaccine is so strong that it has produced a lot of immunoglobulin A and a lot of immune cells here in the mouth and nasopharyngeal area, then when the virus comes in, we would attack it and we'll capture it and we would not let it go out without being inactivated. And even if it goes back out, it is going to go out with IgA attached on it. It is going to be of no use. So ideally, in theory, a good vaccine can result in us not shedding. However, there is no such vaccine so far. So the only thing they have been able to say is that the vaccine can reduce shedding, which makes sense. The virus would not have a chance to grow too much, replicate too much, so there would be lesser number of viruses. So when we shed them, the amount shed will be less. Carol says, my older friends are getting vaccinated now. Some of them cried. They were so overwhelmed with the gratitude that the vaccine has become. Absolutely. I asked this question today in our community on the YouTube, that would you take a vaccine? And so far, let's see. Did you take part in the, if I look at it, so 1,000 people have voted so far. 46% says yes, 34% say no, 4% said only if my work requires it, and 16% said still thinking. So 460 people said they would take it. 340 people said they would not. And there are about 81 comments. I've not read them yet, but many of them are their concerns about the vaccine. That is correct. John Ross says, hypothetically, what efficacy number would you assign to the taking of the ivermectin, D, K, ZQ, NHS melatonin cocktail from 0 to 100%? If the vitamin D is properly done, so the efficacy, I would, considering that without these we have lots of very severely ill people, I would give efficacy in terms of severely ill. So I think that the hospitalization and severe illness is going to drop by 90%. So let's say out of 100 people, 20 people end up in hospital. I think with these things, and if ivermectin is added to it, then even better. But then out of 100, maybe 3 or 4 will end up in hospital. That is strange. Jana Taylor, doctor says no vaccine for me. Why? I don't understand sometimes doctors thinking. So Colin says, I won't take it as it is the world's biggest ever experiment. By the way, why is Bill Gates getting interested in ivermectin? So I can't answer why is his interest. I would suspect it is a good thing if he's becoming interested because he can help. I hope he does that. There was a question, are there any massage parlors open? Yes. So Mackay, at least, there are 2 types of, so I live in Cupertino. In these areas, there are lots of massage parlors. And there are 2 types of parlors now. One, those who have a tick sign on their front that says, we have been verified by the whatever authorities that we are okay and all of our practices are correct. And are in the massage parlors, they have actually vaccinated the masseurs as essential workers. So majority of those are that way, but there are some that are not ready. They have not adapted the right practices. And Doug says, question, asymptomatic hypoxia after symptoms resolved, 93%, no results on PCR test Tuesday. I asked for an antibody test, but it was refused. I cannot imagine why they refused the antibody. Anyways, asymptomatic hypoxia, symptoms resolved, 93%. That means you are actually recovering. So you'll recover back soon if your symptoms have resolved. B12 says, Dr. Bean, massage parlor is suggestive of something else in English language. Oh, that is message parlor. I do not know what else are you thinking about. But there are lots of massage areas. I don't know if parlor is the wrong word. Maybe. John Snyder says there is no study in the Lancet preprints on D. It's effective by itself. Yeah. So Jana says some you can get to your home to massage. Yes, so there are some such services as well. I have never ever had anyone over for massage. Mark says, do you need mucosal infection or vaccination for B cells homing to mucosal surfaces? No, so the B cells, wherever there is lymphoid tissue, which we have in our oropharyngeal area, there are B cells in there as well. B cells do not need to come to the mucosal surfaces. Mostly mucosal surfaces will have innate arm cells plus IgA. Innate arm cells will then take the pathogen and go to the B cells and T cells, but IgA would always be present. Anthony, that is actually an interesting thing that they're doing. Trevor said, I voted yes. I voted yes as well. Michelle says, I don't have a fever for 2 days without taking any antipyretics and asymptomatic, the no test. That is excellent. Zero one says, how should we treat hiatus hernia? That is a question for surgery. So please talk with your doctor. Doug says continue ivermectin. So again, no specific thing, but if I have my patients, I will continue giving them ivermectin until they have brought their oxygen levels back to 97. Caesar says, if there a new big study done on ivermectin and the results was negative, will you still believe in ivermectin? So look, from that study, if the results are negative, so this is all hypothetical. You're just saying, hey, maybe it is not possible. So if it is not there, then I would say yes, it is not there. But that question is incorrect. Still, from my own experience, I always have positive outcome. So I would still continue to use it with my patients. At BT, we got it legalized here. Very nice, very nice. Makai says, there are a few brothels down my local town, hidden ones. I've not been, but I know people that live. So did the massage parlor discussion ended up in the brothel discussion? Lucy says, can you discuss ADE in vaccines? Lucy, I have done a complete discussion about the vaccines, ADE, the 5 mechanisms of ADE, and their possibility. And review different kind of masks. I have actually done 3 videos on masks. One are talking about the N95 and surgical mask, and then the second one is the homemade mask, and third one is homemade mask cloth and what is the effectivity of the cloth. CEB says, Dr. Bean, do you trust a PCR test at 40 plus cycles? That's a difficult question, because what I do not know is what is the right lower threshold. Here is how to think about it. What is the quantity of RNA present in our throat, or amount of virus? What is a lower quantity that will not make us sick? That is a basic question. I think everybody is going to behave differently for various quantities. So maybe 40 is high enough threshold that it would pick up even those viral amounts that are actually not going to make a person sick in some people and would make some people sick, and they're saying, yeah, sure, positive. It might make the person a little more careful, but so far it is not known that what is the lower bound. Roller Girl says, do you eat meat, or are you vegan or plant-based? So I eat meat. I eat halal meat, and I'm not vegan, but I love plant-based foods as well sometimes. Janet Larson says, my father is 90 days out from COVID diagnosis, 90 days out. Recent echo showed severe moderate aortic stenosis, which is a progression since this past June's echocardiogram. This means that dad needs a valve replacement surgery. Knowing COVID's impact on vascular system, is there a possibility that the virus would have worsened stenosis from mild to moderate? Janet, if we just talk about possibility, it is possible. It depends what was the severity. Normally, this kind of a virus does not attack the valves itself. It attacks the cell. The valves are mostly kind of less blood supplied, and they are more connective tissue, and it attacks the internal layers of the heart and the blood vessels. But when that happens, that is a very severe form of the disease. So it really depends what is the form of the disease. Jana says, Dr. Bean, please tell your wife, thank you for allowing you to help us and spend so much time. You're a blessing. You are very welcome. She has been a little bit curious that nowadays it's 2 hours every day And so I told her that I do a talk in the beginning, then we stop, then we do a chit chat. Thank you. Doug Gross, that is fine. So that 1 trillion means you take one piece and you ramp it up to a trillion copies. Once again, the question is, what are the basic minimum number here that when amplified should prove, and how many times we should amplify to say that this would cause infection? I think everybody is going to have a different behavior. So 1 trillion is, or 40 cycle is just some arbitrary number that somebody must have come up with in the beginning, and now we are stuck with it. I think the best way to do this is take somebody who is infected, known infected, meaning he has symptoms as well and PCR positive. Then start taking the PCR cycles below 40. For example, for that person, take a swab and do 20 cycles and see does it come up positive, or 30 or 40, and keep doing that study on a larger number. And that would bring us to a lower bound that is 100% accurate for the detection of it. That probably is a way to create the study and then understand the right cycle threshold. Jan, I echo Jana Teller's, Dr. Bean, please tell your wife, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to help us and spend so much time. You're a blessing. Thank you very much. I would definitely tell her. She'll be very happy to hear this. Riku says, what is your take on Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation agreement to fund RCT and ivermectin? I love it. So I would take it on a face value. I do not have any conspiracy theory mindset with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. If they are going to support this, I actually like it. I hope that the way it is done is correct. We don't end up with Oxford-like trial where they had crazy hydroxychloroquine amount and then they didn't have zinc with it, and that was just a crazy study. I hope we don't end up with a crazy study which then comes back and says, well, we had a large study and it is useless. I hope the protocol is correctly adhered to. I hope so. Yes. So they would, if they are going to do a trial, that would go on clinical trials site. And over there, we'll be able to look at the trials protocol. Jenna, good night. Leda says, great talk earlier. Serotonin, oxytocin, epinephrine. Can a bad brain injury from vascular accident affect those hormones? No. Sometimes the hormonal effect can be when the pituitary gland becomes affected. It can usually become affected by 3 common things. One is severe accidents where there is whiplash and the pituitary stem detaches from the brain tissue. That is one possibility. Second are the tumors of pituitary. And third is sometimes when women become pregnant and they have lots of need for oxytocin and the pituitary starts making too much hormone, it gets compressed in sella turcica. It's a bony structure in which it becomes bound. It's like a metallic purse around it, and it can get affected. Other than that, it's normally not affected. Cool. So how about we stop for today? My request to everyone, be my Valentine by liking, subscribing, and sharing. And if you would like, there is a link for becoming my patron. For a few days, nobody has become my patron, and it's kind of embarrassing that I only have like $200 per month. So we'll continue to produce more, but you can become my patron. If you wanted to buy me a coffee, you can buy me a coffee as well, and you can support this work too. So thank you very much. Happy Valentine's. Stay safe, happy, healthy, and loved. You do the care first, and then you'll get the care back as well. Don't go in this mindset that I need to receive the care first before I can return it. So you take the initiative, you start, and then things will be better. Cool. Thank you very much. So tomorrow is my off. I would see you on Monday.